Quarantine hair don't care. Hi. Hello. Everything is off today. Everything feels weird. I feel like the camera is tilted. I feel like I'm not where I need to be. Nothing is going alright. Nothing's going right. Nothing. So, hi, welcome. What is up, you guys? Welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, hi. Let's introduce ourselves. I'll start. My name is Chase and I'm a hot mess, and today it just seems like I'm a hotter mess than normal. I don't know what's going on. You can see all of that mess right over there. I don't even care. I don't know what's going on. I don't know. I'm a hot mess and I can't deal with it today. But if you like hot messes, if you clicked on this video, you saw that and you were like, man, this kid needs help, subscribe to my channel. Hit that red button. And you know what happens? You join the Hot Mess Express and this train goes full steam ahead and it doesn't stop. So I am once again not putting my hair up. I'm really sorry if me playing with my hair bothers you, but it just ruins my hair. It just doesn't, I don't like it. I don't like putting it up because then it ruins it and it makes it look all funny, and even a brush can't fix it. So I'm just not going to anymore. So last week, what did we talk about? I don't think any of you would know because no one watched it. Last week we talked about the Gill house in Galion, Ohio. We talked about the Gill family and their history, their long history in Galion. We talked about the house and the family that lived there after the Gills. And then last but not least, we talked about the hauntings, my favorite part. And it's funny because someone I work with, we were talking about my video, and it turns out she actually had her prom pictures, right? Prom or homecoming pictures in the Gill house, and she was like, and I even said when I was in there, this place is probably haunted, but she had no idea, and it was. If you didn't watch that video, oh, I forgot my color switch. 1 second. I don't remember what we were talking about. I have no idea what we were talking about. I don't remember, so moving on. Go watch last week's Spooky Saturday. I will leave it linked down below, and I will also leave the playlist down below of every Spooky Saturday that we have made thus far. Next week is the season finale of Spooky Saturdays Mansfield edition. I don't know, season 1 Mansfield edition. But don't worry, I'm not going anywhere. I'll still be posting every week. You can't get rid of me that easily. However, we're gonna shake some things up for the next like 4 weeks and do something different. So this week we have a lot of information to cover. I did not think I'd have this much. Well, I kind of did actually. I kind of figured that I would have a lot of information this week. So let's jump right into it now that I'm 6 minutes in. Let's jump right into it. I also just should get out of the way the music I'm listening to this week. Which album am I listening to this week? Last week I recommended RuPaul's new album, You're a Winner, Baby. I hope you guys listened to it. If you did, let me know down below. It's a very good album. I actually just listened to it today in the shower. And for this week, I am recommending this one right there. That record right there. Selena Gomez's album, Rare. I have been listening to this album since it came out in January, and in my humble opinion, it's her best album that she's made, period, hands down. So I'll be listening to that in between takes for this video. So which place are we talking about this week? I have to say, I have had this place in mind since I started this series, but I wanted to save it for the end because I knew there would be a lot of information and I knew there would be a lot of hauntings, and I also have my own experiences there, so I wanted to talk about that. This place was also recommended by Sam, and she actually helped me get some information today for this video. I messaged her last week or sometime last week, and I asked her if she had any information, any hauntings, anything like that, and she sent me a really helpful article and a really helpful podcast, which I'm actually going to play a bit of that in today's video. And she was a big help, so I just wanted to say thank you to Sam. And she also has a YouTube channel, and so I will leave that linked down below if anyone wants to go check her out and watch her channel. I love you, Sam. So this week, as you saw by the title, we are talking about the Renaissance Theater. It's a beautiful building. I'll go ahead and insert some pictures here. That way you can see the outside. If I can find some from the inside of the Renaissance, I'll post them in the video too. So I'll go ahead and insert those here for you. Hi, Editing Chase. Don't look at me. I'm ugly. I look bad. So don't judge. I'm editing. But I found out while editing this video that the Renaissance was also involved in Shawshank, which I didn't know that. It was where Shawshank premiered back in September 13th of 1994. So I just think that's interesting. That's like we've done 7 places, and I feel like out of the 4, if we like 4 of them have been involved in Shawshank, or the people have been involved in Shawshank in some way. So I thought it was interesting. I figured I'd throw it in here because I wasn't sure where else to throw it in at. But there you go. It was also involved in Shawshank. Okay, did you enjoy those pictures? I hope you did. So the Renaissance was built in 1927 by Variety Amusement Incorporated, and they have built a few other theaters in the Ohio area. They were owned by Ike and Jacob Silverman, and they spent $500,000, which I didn't do the transfer, the math to figure out how much that would be today, but I can only imagine how much that would be today. Because again, this was back in the 20s. So money has definitely changed since then. So the Renaissance opened its doors on January 18th of 1928. So it did not take long to build, which is actually kind of surprising because it's not a humongous theater, but it's pretty big and it's elaborate inside and it's a really pretty place. So I thought that it would take longer than like less than a year to build, but it didn't, and it opened its doors on January 18th, 1928, and it was not called the Renaissance. It was actually called the Ohio Theater. It was originally a movie theater. This was elaborate. I believe it has 1,400 seats in it, and it has like a big balcony. Again, I'm going to try to insert some pictures. You might have already seen them of the inside of the auditorium. It is beautiful, and they used to show movies there. That was where you would go to see a movie. And when the Renaissance opened, there were 7 other theaters just in Mansfield alone. The closest one was just right down the street from the Ohio Theater, and it was called the Madison Theater. And when the Madison Theater closed down and was eventually torn down, the Renaissance actually got some of the stuff from the Madison Theater. Something that right now, should I call it the Renaissance or the Ohio Theater? I'll call it the Renaissance, but just know that back then it was not called the Renaissance. But back then the Renaissance was best known for hosting the Miss Ohio pageant, which is the state competition for Miss America. So it's a pretty big deal. And that is what they were known for hosting. And a lot of people think that the pageant actually has something to do with saving the Ohio Theater. Eventually, you know, the movie theater thing started dying out. A lot of the theaters closed, all of them closed now, but the Renaissance. And it was a dying breed. And so they were on the verge of closing, and then the Miss Ohio pageant came back to Mansfield, and they started hosting at the Renaissance, and it kind of saved the building in a sense. So in August 1980 is when the Renaissance or the Ohio Theater had its first name change. They changed their name from the Ohio Theater to the Renaissance Theater, and then again in January of 1997, they changed their name for the second and final time, this time to just the Renaissance, when they merged with the Mansfield Symphony. So on May 31st of 1983, the Renaissance was added to the National Register of Historic Places. Because like I said, when the Renaissance opened, there were 7 other movie theater palaces, is what they were called, just in Mansfield alone. And this one was the 8th, and they have all since closed, and I'm pretty sure most of them have even been demolished. But the Renaissance has stayed a staple in the community and is a really big place. A lot of people know of the Renaissance, even people who aren't from Mansfield or even Ohio. It's a pretty big name in the community right now. And so it was added to the National Register of Historic Places. And the Renaissance still is open today. It's still operational for the public to go and visit. They still host... I'm home alone. And y'all know how I feel about filming these videos when I'm home alone. It freaks me out. I forget what I was saying again. The main thing they do now are plays. I was actually in a play at the Renaissance. I did Shrek the musical, and so I have been there. I've been backstage, I've been around the building, and I know it. I also have helped out there. I went to a performing arts school, so I helped out with Shrek the musical, like behind the scenes stuff, and helping just there with costumes, things like that. I have been in the Renaissance quite a bit, and it's a beautiful building, but it also is a little creepy. Without even knowing about the haunted stuff, it can be kind of creepy there when you're in an area alone. The Renaissance also shows movies there. They still do that. As of right now, because of the pandemic, you can't go in, but they are doing this thing called the Renaissance Backlot. It's kind of like a drive-in movie. They have the movie and they project it on the wall and you can drive up and see it. It's really cool. I haven't been to one yet, but I'd really like to go. But even when there wasn't a pandemic, they were still showing movies in the auditorium. They also have shows for the Mansfield Symphony. They have comedians come when they're on tour and they have had shows there. They've had certain singers come and put on shows there. And they still show the Miss Ohio pageant there, which I think is really cool. They also do different types of pageant shows. I think they do Miss Ohio Teen or something like that. They have a show there that is also a pageant show. So it is still fully operational, fully functioning, and it is still very popular within the community. And I think that's why it's still open and probably the others have shut down, because the Renaissance knew how to change with the times and they knew what to do to stay open and stay relevant. And they kind of stopped with the movies and now they started with the plays, and now that's their main thing that they do, and what they're known for are their plays that they put on. Now, even though the Renaissance has a lot of amazing history behind it, it also has something that to this day people still talk about, and that is an unsolved murder. The Renaissance has even put on a murder mystery dinner, I believe is what it was. And they did it a few times last year and the year before, I think, where you would dress up in 1920s attire, you would come to the Renaissance, and you would try to solve this mystery. And it's a real life mystery, something that actually happened. Now, of course, with this mystery, it is still unsolved to this day, and it probably will never be solved. So they can't really actually solve this mystery. But all the names are real, everything that happened, the events and everything are real. So I think what I'm going to do is finish my eyes off camera, and then I'm going to come back and tell you about the unsolved murder that happened at the Renaissance Theater. Me again. I'm hoping this is the last time you'll see me, but I wanted to come on here real quick. I left a clip in, and I wanted to just kind of talk about it for a second. I'm doing my makeup and it's in between takes. I had stopped talking just to I forget what I'm even doing. And you'll hear one song end from Selena Gomez's album, and there's a little bit of quiet time, and then you'll hear the song start. And in between there, to me, it sounds like someone breathing into the microphone. I don't know. You can see my mouth. I come back up from blending, and I wasn't talking. I wasn't doing anything. It might have been me making a weird noise. I don't remember making a weird noise, but I thought I'd leave it in just so you can hear and you can kind of decide for yourself. Hopefully. Okay, we're back. So like I said, left you on a little cliffhanger, there was a murder at the Renaissance back in 1929, only a year after the Renaissance opened up. So Edward A. Rafter was the manager at the Renaissance. Back then, of course, it was called the Ohio Theater. And he was working late on October 30th when someone broke into the Ohio Theater trying to steal what was in the safe. So like money, valuables, things like that. Edward was shot 4 times and then left in the lobby. And then I can't think of the word, assailant, the bad guy, fled on foot and was never found. The reason why they never found this man is because the man was disguised as a woman. He dressed up as a woman and broke in, so they were never able to find who he was because there wasn't a good description of him. Now, Edward did not die at the Renaissance, however, he did pass away a few days later from his injuries in a hospital. And like I said, the murder was never solved, and to this day, they don't know who it is. And it has actually kind of become a popular thing at the Renaissance, like I said, with the murder mystery dinner and all of that. Now that is all the history I have for you on the Renaissance. There's a lot of history. It's not like I couldn't find a lot. There was a lot. But there are also a lot of hauntings that go on at the Renaissance, and I wanted to talk about that since this is Spooky Saturday. So if you're interested in doing your research, there are a lot of articles I found. All you have to do is Google the Renaissance Theater or the Renaissance, and you'll find it. There is a lot, trust me. But I wanted to kind of touch on the main points, that way we could jump into the paranormal, because bitch, I have a lot. I'm editing again, and I forgot to mention that the Renaissance was featured on A&E's My Ghost Story, and you can do your own paranormal investigation of the place. However, it's expensive. For 4 people, you have to have 4 people to do a ghost hunt, and it'll run you $200. And then if you have any more than 4, it's $50 per person after 4. So some of the common things that are heard throughout the Renaissance are kind of the common things that are heard in most haunted buildings. People hear footsteps throughout the building, but mostly in the grand staircase at the Renaissance, which I will put a picture, if I can find one here, of the grand staircase. You just get an uneasy feeling being there. That's what Sam kind of said, is that you just gonna get an uneasy feeling when you're around the grand staircase. And I don't know why. I'm not sure if anything has happened there, but it's just kind of this weird feeling that you get. And people hear footsteps there. They hear footsteps in the hallways outside of the grand ballroom, which is on the 2nd floor, which I have went there multiple times. That is where we had a lot of rehearsals for Shrek the musical. So I've been up there a lot. And of course they hear footsteps in the lobby as well. Figures have also been seen throughout this building. There have been a lot of figures seen in the balcony in the auditorium, from actors who are on stage or people who are there working late. They see figures in the projection booth. Also, I know this foundation is too light for me. I know. This foundation matched me perfectly in the winter. Sorry, I keep having to pause because I'm getting spooked, so thank God for Selena Gomez. Something else heard throughout the building is, of course, voices, because what haunted place doesn't have disembodied voices? And the thing that scares me the most, laughter. People hear laughter in the building, which, like I said in my last video, freaks me out. I don't know why, but laughter just scares me. Like if you hear I'm getting scared just thinking about it, but if you just hear someone start laughing when you're alone, that's terrifying. That's scary. I'm scaring myself right now. I have actually experienced that before, and I'm scaring myself right now just thinking about it. A spot that people hear voices at a lot is in the projection room. So like I said, the Renaissance was once what they call a movie palace. So they did, and they still do, have a projection room above the stage, and people have heard laughter and voices in there. That's like the main spot that they hear them. When people are on stage, when people are in the auditorium alone, they can hear someone talking and laughing in the projection room. Music can also be heard throughout the Renaissance when there's no one in there. It can be music like someone's playing music or like party music. A lot of different people throughout the years have heard music when they're like the only person in the Renaissance. I actually had a teacher from when I went to the performing arts school, and she worked at the Renaissance as a director, and she was the director for Shrek the Musical. And she told me one day, we were kind of talking about this at one of the rehearsals, and she was like, yeah, you know what, you just kind of get a freaky feeling when you're here alone, because a lot of the times she works in like the basement area, and that place is where we would go. That's where our changing rooms and stuff were, and it's freaky. That place is definitely freaky, the basement, and like they're kind of like a corridor, like, and it's creepy under there. It's definitely somewhere that I wouldn't want to be alone, and that's where she would work a lot. Nothing ever happened, but it was just kind of a creepy feeling being down there alone. Speaking of the corridor-esque downstairs and under the basement and stuff, that is another active place. People say that they can hear people talking and whispers and yelling from under the stage and like the backstage area, the corridor area. People say they can hear whispers and people talking and yelling from under the stage. And how it's set up is like, it's the stage, And then you go backstage and you walk down these steps and they have changing rooms, a place where you can sew, they have a bunch of costumes, and they have more rooms that lead to like the pit and the stage and stuff. And that's where people say they hear voices and people talking and yelling and whispering and things like that. So like I said, Sam sent me a podcast that they have about the Renaissance, but they had a special, I think it was last year, they did for Halloween, that they talked about all the hauntings that happened there. And in this podcast, they have a woman who leads the investigation group History and Hauntings, and they had the man who wrote the Sealy Rose play and who works at Malabar and has all the history about Malabar. He was also on this podcast. But the podcast is called the Renaissance Podcast, I think, or something like that. You can find it on Apple. That's where I listen to it, the podcast app on your iPhone or iPad. They might have it on Spotify too, but I don't know. I didn't look. But he was on this podcast, and he actually worked at the Renaissance back in the 90s. And he said that he was a skeptic when he was younger, until he worked at the Renaissance with a cleaning crew. He was the person who would clean up after shows, after they had parties there, things like that. And he said they heard a lot of stuff there. He said the first night he was there, he heard footsteps in the lobby when it was just him and like one other person there. And that's kind of how he became a believer, is from working at the Renaissance. He experienced a lot of stuff there. The one story that I found super interesting was one night, him and this woman who worked for the cleaning company, they were the only people there, and they were cleaning when all of a sudden they started hearing a party on the second floor. And now there is a hotel right next door to the Renaissance. And there is a tunnel that used to connect the two. It has since been sealed up so you can't go in there. And it's actually rumored to be haunted as well. But it was so people could just come right into the Renaissance, then come watch movies and plays and things like that. So they thought this tunnel was still open, and they thought that it was people from the hotel having a party. But they would always write down what was going on at the Renaissance, what time, where, and how long it would be on the calendar in the office, the main office. So they hear this party going on. They're like, great, now we're gonna have to go tell them, like, hey, how long is this gonna be? We have to come in here and clean afterwards. And so they went into the office to see how long it was gonna be, because they didn't know there was going to be a party. And they saw that there was nothing written down on the calendar. There was nothing. So they walked out of the office to go up there, and they didn't hear any music anymore or nothing. And like he said, they heard music. It was like a full party, just in swing. There were people talking, laughing, everything. So they run up to the second floor, and it is empty. There is no one up there. It's dark. There are no lights on, nothing. I would shit my pants if I heard that. Can we just take another second to appreciate this little backdrop? I'll move. It's like a London in the Victorian era on a rainy night. This is so cute. If you're looking for backdrops, the channel name, her name is called Autumn Cozy. I'll leave it linked down below if you want to go check it out. If you're looking for screensavers for anything, I use it for my videos. But they are so cute. They have a lot of fall ones. I think that's what she mostly does are fall ones. They have a lot of really cute Halloween ones. They have some Christmas ones. This is just a really cute like London Victorian era. I just really like them. So if you're looking for something for your channel, I thought they were cute, and I thought I would show you them, because I mean, look how adorable that is. And you get lightning in the sky. And so like I said, when the movie palaces, theaters, whatever you want to call them, started closing down, the Renaissance started getting artifacts from them. And one thing they got was from the Madison Theater that was just right down the street from the Renaissance. And one of the things they got from the Madison Theater was the projector that was in the projection room. And a lot of people believe that when the Renaissance got this projector, they also got a spirit along with it. A lot of people have come across what people call Pete, who is a man who is believed to haunt the projection room. People have heard him talking. They have seen him during performances and stuff. And people have kind of come to the conclusion that he's attached to the projector. He used to work at the Madison Theater in the projection room. And when they took that projector out and tore down the Madison Theater, his spirit came along with it and is now in the projection room at the Renaissance. So multiple people at the Renaissance, both actors who are there just for a show and crew members, have seen what they call the woman in white. And she has been seen in the wings of the auditorium during performances and run-throughs of shows. She has also been seen in the balcony while people are on stage or while they're in the auditorium working. And she has been seen in the lobby of the Renaissance as well. And she's just a woman in a white dress who walks around and stands and watches shows. And when people approach her or try to talk to her, she disappears. I might have seen her while I was at the Renaissance one day, but we'll get to that. So like I said in my last video, I always like to try to find the most haunted place in the building. When I'm doing my research, I want to find like where is the most active in the building, who has the most activity in what room. And at the Renaissance, it is the lobby, which isn't really surprising because there was a murder there. And now when listening to this podcast, they said that there have actually been multiple murders at the Renaissance. I don't know if that's true or not. I didn't find any other murders while doing research. I only found the one, but I feel like there have been. But the lobby is the most active spot in the Renaissance. For over 80 years, people have been saying they have seen Edward Rafter himself pacing back and forth in the lobby. And now, as long as people have been saying that they have seen Edward pacing back and forth in the lobby, people have also been saying that they've seen a figure hiding in the corners of the lobby. And a lot of people believe this to be the spirit of the person who murdered Edward back in 1929, which I just think that is the creepiest thing. Because can you imagine seeing just this person just lurking in dark corners of the lobby? And a lot of people have said when they do see this figure, the figure is very menacing and evil, and they just get this like odd, kind of scary feeling of like they're unwanted and they're being watched. And just this, the word that they used was menacing. And I don't mess with menacing energy. That's not the energy that I want. I am of the energy of love and light. Take that and rewind it back. Okay, I am real quick going to do my lower lash line off camera, just like I always do. And then I'm going to come back and I'm going to play you some EVPs that this history and haunting group caught while investigating the Renaissance. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. I did my lower lash line and we're almost done. I feel like this video did not take me very long to film. So during this podcast, they brought some EVPs that they caught during their investigation of the Renaissance. I'm going to play you 3, but there are a lot, and I really recommend that you go and listen to this. It's called the Renaissance Podcast, and the episode title is called The Haunted Renaissance. So in this first EVP, this one's kind of hard to hear. It took me a few times to hear it. I'll play it for you twice, they play it twice, and then if you need to go back in the video and listen some more, you can. But this is supposedly a woman saying, "I don't like you." So I'll play it for you now. And yes, I'm going to put my phone up to here like this, because we don't have a budget right now. I don't, sorry.
I don't like you. Did you hear that?
There was kind of down.
They'll play it again.
I don't like you.
You can hear it just faintly, but it sounds like someone saying, "I don't like you." I'll play it again for you.
I don't like you.
Now the host doesn't hear it, and some people might not either. I know my one friend wouldn't hear it, Katie. But I heard it. It took me a few minutes, but you can hear them say, "I don't like you." The "like you" is very clear, but the other part, not so much. The next one that I'm going to play for you makes me so uncomfortable. And it just, I don't know, it's just like the sound of it and everything. It sounds like a woman screaming. So I'll play that for you now. Now the woman talking is the investigator. That's not the paranormal aspect. But the scream, I'll play it for you again. That, ugh. It sounds like a woman screaming. That freaks me out so much. Ew, I don't like it. And now this last one is probably the clearest one. It sounds like an older woman saying hello, but singing it. I know you heard that. That one's hard not to hear. Let me play it for you again. It's creepy. You can hear someone saying, hello. Nope. Adele, is that you? So like I said, I've had my own personal experiences at the Renaissance, and I'm going to tell you about those now. So the first one is actually a little funny, and I have not heard of anyone else having an experience like this, but it was in the bathroom. I was there for Shrek the Musical, and it was one of our breaks. And so there were a lot of people in the lobby and everything. So this one could have been someone, I don't know, just messing with me maybe. But there were a lot of people in the lobby and just kind of hanging out. And I went into the bathroom to do what you do when you go into the bathroom. And I'm in one of the stalls, and I hear someone walk into the bathroom and walk into the stall like next to me. And I don't think anything of it, because duh, there are a lot of people around, and I'm not just like the only one in the building. So I'm thinking that someone came to use the bathroom. Well, I walk out of the stall after I get done doing my business, and there's no one in the bathroom. So I think, okay, maybe they came in and then just like walked right back out, and I didn't hear them walk out. So I'm washing my hands, and they have the sink, right? There's a hand towel thing right here, one right here, and then one like right over here. So I'm at this one, and there's one right over here at the very opposite end, and they're motion activated. So I'm washing my hands, 20 seconds with warm water and soap, and then I go to dry off my hands, and I move the motion thing so the paper towel comes out. I'm right here, and then this one right over here catches motion, and it starts spitting out paper towels. And at first I'm like, oh, maybe, I don't know, maybe something, I don't know. And then it does it a second time, and I bolted out of that bathroom. I said, no ma'am. And now that one was close to the door, so I don't know, maybe it caught someone walking down the hallway. I don't see how it could, but that one I was like, oh. So I don't know, maybe a ghost had to go pee. And that one is not the scary one. That one is just one that I was kind of like, huh. And like I said, it could have been explained away. Someone could have walked into the bathroom and walked right back out. I don't know. There were a lot of people in the lobby at that time. So it's possible. But now the second one is super freaky and has stuck with me. And it's just, this one is weird and it's hard for me to explain away. I can't explain it away. I look kind of like a cheap hooker with this lipstick on and the eye look. But that's not a bad thing. So this experience is the freakiest one out of the two. We were having a rehearsal, and I was like the last person, one of the last people to come in at rehearsal time. I don't know if I was late getting there or what, but I was one of the last people there. And I thought we were having rehearsal in the auditorium on the main stage. But we weren't, we were having it in the basement. But I didn't know that, so I walk into the auditorium. Now, how it's set up is there's the lobby area, and then you walk into like this entrance area that then goes into the auditorium. There's a lobby, an entrance, the auditorium. I'm in the entrance, and the lobby is like shut up and everything, and so is the auditorium. And it is pitch black in there. I mean, I couldn't see my hand in front of my face. And I'm like, hello? Is anyone in here? And I did say that. I was like, hello? Like, is anyone in here? And I turn around because I start hearing music, and I see a woman in a white dress walking up the stairs, and these stairs lead up to like the balcony and the wings of the auditorium. So I go, oh, excuse me, ma'am, I have a question. Well, she didn't answer me, so I followed her, and I went to the bottom of the staircase, and I was like, hello? And there was no one there. And then I start hearing music, so I go to the basement, and that's where everyone's at having rehearsal. There was no one in the auditorium at that time. We were the only people in the Renaissance. That was it. There was no one else in the Renaissance. So there you guys go. This is the final look. I don't know how I feel about this lipstick and the eye look. It's interesting. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a big thumbs up. You know the drill. Comment, share, subscribe. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know a lot of people probably don't know about the haunted side of the Renaissance, so I'm happy I got to share this with you and talk about my experiences I had there. If you have any experiences at the Renaissance, leave them down below. Let's talk. I love to talk about the ghosts and the paranormal, hence why I have this video and this series. I love you all for watching. Like I said, next week is the season finale of Spooky Saturdays Mansfield Edition. But don't worry, I'm not going anywhere. We're just going to do something a little bit different for the next few weeks. I love you all so much. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next week. Bye, guys.